Righty. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Doing It with Jason. My name is Jason, and today I'm going to show you guys wood. What kind of wood to use. Is everything smooth? It's a live stream, as always. It is Tuesday, sometime in May, and it's really warm out, so that's really cool. So yeah, today I'm going to be showing you guys a whole bunch of different woods. Hardwoods, softwoods, plywoods, MDF, how to know the difference, what to use for your next project when you're building something, either cabinets or furniture, you name it. So hopefully, we'll be able to learn something, teach you guys a little bit, and let's get started. And if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat right here, right now, live, or if you don't catch this live, that's cool too, and just write in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll definitely answer those as much as I can. We will start with softwood. I only have one example of softwood, and that is going to be pine. This is stained already, so yeah, don't let that fool you. But you can see right there, just normal old pine. This was probably a 2x4 sanded down. A lot of people are using this for furniture nowadays. It's totally okay to use, depending on, you got to be careful because it's dry. It's not dry 100%, and the moisture levels all are ranging all over the place. So just be careful if you're going to use softwoods in your projects. They don't tend to last as long. They are very susceptible to scratching, dents and dings, warping. There's a lot more movement going on with softwoods than hardwoods. So not my number one choice for if you're going to be doing, sorry, I got this camera all set up to autofocus so that way I can get the really good details right there. And it's just going to kind of bump around a little bit, but that's okay. So softwoods, they're okay, but hardwood is the way to go as far as if you want to build something that's going to last forever. There's so many options to choose from, it's ridiculous. So you got everything from like walnut, which is a very nice hardwood, and you can use that for face frames, doors, you name it, complete furniture pieces. Same thing goes with cherry. Cherry is a really cool wood as well. It's very popular. A lot of people have a hard time deciding between maple, which is something like that, and cherry. What I've learned in the past is if you want to use something that you're going to be staining really dark, go with cherry. It takes stain a lot better than maple. Maple is very white, very, very dense, and repels stain more so than cherry does. Therefore, you'll get a lot more blotching in maple, unless you're tinting your clear coat and all that good stuff in your stain. So that being said, the cherry is the way to go if you're just going for a stain piece, a darker piece, and you can make it look like maple. Most people will not even know the difference, especially if you're building them something. You just show them a final piece, and that's what they'll choose. Most likely if they want darker, they'll go with the cherry. And it's a lot easier to work with than maple. Hard maple and soft maple, there's millions of those as well. So that is very cool. And then, let's see here. So then we have, your other, like a paint grade wood that I've used in the past for painting is poplar. It's very cool. It comes usually green to purpley, all kinds of pretty colors, lots of fun. So that one's a really good, very easy wood to work with, very inexpensive wood to work with. So if you wanted something you're just beginning and you want to do solid wood or hardwood and you don't want to pay a lot of money, poplar is probably one of your best bets. Easy to work on your tools. You won't get a lot of burning when you're using duller blades and all that stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then you could do even like this is one of my favorites. I've been doing a lot of work on this lately. Is quarter sawn white oak. And I'm not sure if you could see the flakes in it. They have a bunch of little ones and they have a few bigger ones. It might not be in this one. This is more of a rift sawn. It's funny. Quarter sawn, rift sawn, very, very similar. You can have more flakes. This one is leaning towards more of the rift part of it, but when you buy it in bulk like I do, you kind of get a little mixture of every one of them. And I do have actually, here's a white oak right here, a sample with flakes in it. You can see those big old flakes right there. And when you stain those, they really look cool and they really pop. They turn a different color. This is just natural, no finish or anything. But when you really start staining it, that's when it pops. A lot of fun, make a piece look really cool. But yeah, so then you got your exotics as well. What's up, Choo Choo Cat Gaming? I'm glad this is helpful. That's awesome. So then you got your exotics, which to me, David Marks, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's one of the guys that I look up to and got me started in this. He uses a lot of exotic woods in his projects, very more modern, I guess, like this old house times 20 and futuristic. But this is zebra wood. It's relatively expensive. It almost has like an oak grain on the edge. But the face grain, is really, really pretty. You're going to get a lot of colors. Don't recommend staining any of your exotic woods unless you really have money to burn. Usually you want to pick your exotics for the color and the character, you know, that sort of thing. And once again, that's a hardwood, very hardwood. And then we got one of the hardest woods I've used is bloodwood, and this is from Africa. Well, they have different versions of all kinds of woods too. You can get some of them in South America, Australia. You can get a lot of lacewood and snakewood, you name it. But this, you can actually hear, like, it sounds like concrete. And here's my ring on it, and it is the most dense wood I have come across lately as far as affordable. There's definitely more denser woods. It's almost like they start weighing them by the pound. You know, that's how they charge you. But as you can see, I mean, literally, there's no open pores or anything. This is just a normal cut. It's very killer on your tools, so you have to have very sharp tools to use this. I made a few pieces out of this. I mean, looks phenomenal. This isn't even finished, and you can see it almost has a sheen to it just because that wood is so tight, so dense. And yeah, it's amazing. One of my favorite solid woods in the whole wide world. Okay, so now it is time to move to plywoods. Now, this is really important. When you're starting out, you want to build a cabinet, you want to build a furniture, you want to build a box, you want to build the inside of a cabinet, you need to choose plywood. You know, you can go to Home Depot, you can go to Menards, whatever you guys have around there, Lowe's, and they have plywood everywhere. So which plywood do you use? If you walk in there and you've never bought plywood before, you'll be like, there's roofing plywood, there's home building plywood, and it's all kind of, you know, all sandwiched together in the same sort of area. So walking in there can be very, you know, I don't know, scary, I guess, if you don't know what you're getting. So the main thing is what I choose. All right, so say if I'm using my boxes and my cabinets or furniture for the most part, I will use a domestic plywood. Usually I use a domestic maple like this right here. It's called, the most affordable one that I found has like the best bang for its buck is the D3 maple. It comes in 4x8 sheets. I think you can get, they're oversized depending on where you get them at as well. You can get them instead of, it's 48.5 by 96.5. But you can tell by the ply. So if you look at the ply, this is actually a print that I used to have in our store. This is of a lady watching someone pee. So you'd put this on your toilet. It's a toilet topper. You put this on there, and when you go to pee or your guests pee, they see this lady pointing down at. Never mind. So the plies is where it's at. So you can see the really thick plies, very, very nice plywood. It's got a lot of. This one has more of a poplar. They use poplar and pine interchangeably for their for the interior of this, and this is called a veneer core. So they have MDF core, which is an MDF piece inside your ply with whatever piece you want on the outside. You know, if you want maple on the outside, it's a skin of veneer on maple on both sides, and that's where you get the wood choice. But it's all about that core. So you have an option of MDF core or plywood core. I always choose the veneer core because you can nail it, screw it, that sort of thing. Very, very durable. Nails hold, screws hold to this very well. But if you got a MDF core, you're crossing your fingers, or you're gonna have to use special fasteners, and it's not cool. Like, and you know, you have all these open edges around the outside of your cabinet where the MDF can soak up moisture. You have to make sure it's all sealed. Not fun. Although I'm not 100% against MDF, which, since we're talking about MDF, is this. You can use this for, like, if you can get it in quarter panels and 3/4 and 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch and 3/8 inch. You can get it every size possible. It works really good for an interior of a door, like a door panel. So you have the frame of the door going around the outside, and you have a raised panel, and it's painted. Definitely use MDF because MDF is going to help. It's a lot quicker. It's cost effective. No moisture is going to get inside there because that door is completely sealed. Wood movement's going to be very minimal. So, you know, you're just going to be all around ready to go using it for paint grade and for internal parts, if that makes any sense. Do not use it on an external part, according to me. People do it all the time. Companies make millions doing it. Customers spend millions buying it and buying new after it falls apart. So it's up to you. However, you know, you want to waste your time or spend your money and which way you think is better. Now ply. So back to the veneer core is your D3 maple. So that's what I choose. So if you're at Home Depot or whatnot, you're going to see a maple bin, like boards, laying down, and this is like a mini 4x8. And you're going to see it looks like maple. You're going to look at the ply on the edge. That's how you'll be able to tell. It's like a 7 ply. That's how you know, okay, I got the right thing. If you see one that has a ton of plies like that, that is going to be, is it zooming in? Is it picking it up? Is it picking it up? Gosh darn you, autofocus. Well, this is China birch. And usually it's birch. This is a pre-finished version, which is kind of cool because you see it's already got the finish, UV coated, ready to rock. But it's got the China ply, and I don't know why it's, I think it's imported from China. Domestic prices, our prices have went crazy lately in the woodworking industry, so domestic is now gone up, imports went up, so all that whole presidential stuff and all that, it made imports skyrocket. So normally, I remember when I first started this quite some time ago, these were $23 a sheet for a piece of China birch, not the UV coated, but just your plain China birch. Problem is, it's warped. I have heard they made it in the Gulf of Mexico. When they put it all together and laminate, you get delamination, which means all your plies come apart. Not a good wood at all. I would not recommend using the Chinese birch in any way, shape, or form. And you can tell by it has a ton of plies that are very cheap looking. So if you look at it and there's all kinds of voids and holes, it just looks airy. Just don't get it. But don't judge the amount of plies. So that is kind of the tricky part. There's like so much going on. Because there is a Russian birch, also known as Baltic birch, that is phenomenal, and it has 12 plies. It comes in, their half-inch has 12 plies. It comes in quarter-inch, I think eighth-inch, 3/8 inch, half-inch, 5/8, everything. And it usually comes in a 5x5 sheet, so it's 5 feet by 5 feet square. And it also comes in 4x8, but it's more rare to find that one. But the Baltic birch, you could tell by, I don't know if it's picking it up, the plies are insanely dense. So this is like probably one of the best woods. It's very strong, like you cannot even bend it as far as, strength wise. And this is only half-inch, and like normally a half-inch you could just tweak it around. This is like very strong. I use this a lot of time for my drawers. You could also get the 3/4, or you could use half-inch if you want to make your cabinet boxes out of that as well. But for drawers, it works out really, really awesome because it's so dense. You put your dado in there, you assemble your drawer, which I'm going to have to show you guys how I assemble a drawer. No dovetails for the most part unless a customer specifically asks for them, because relying on this wood, the glue, the nails, everything in the structure and the design of the drawer, my drawers will outlast all the dovetail drawers in the world that come from Home Depot and like Craft Made and all those kitchen whatever companies that you buy on the wholesale market. But dovetail is the best, obviously, and using a hardwood is pretty cool. But sometimes when you make 100 drawers, you don't need to dovetail them all. If it gives a customer a break in price and it gets you the job, don't worry about dovetail. So so Baltic birch, if you guys look that up, 5x5 Baltic birch, perfect for drawer boxes, perfect for cabinets. That and the Veneer core maple is phenomenal. And of course, you can get the same plywood in all kinds of different flavors. So, this is a nice domestic ply. So it's always domestic to look for, first of all, minus the Russian birch. The Baltic birch is okay. It's imported. That's the only one I find is okay because I guess they have higher standards there. But the USA domestic one or Canada, it's a really good, deal. You'll see the plies look a lot better. But you can get it in all the sorts of things. This is that quarter sawn white oak I was showing you guys. You can get it with a lot of different veneer choices on it. So you can pick, your different grade, the front and the back. You can get a whatever back with a certain grade front, not to confuse you, but there's so many options. You're not going to find this at Home Depot most likely. You have to go to like a cabinet supply place or a more bigger kind of deal. So that being said, there are pretty much the only other thing there has for mainly like hardwoods factory part, was going to be your like veneer. Veneer is really cool too because you can use veneer over plywood or an MDF depending on what you're building. If you really want to use MDF, but the veneer, because you would want to use MDF for veneer, which is getting really tricky because it's more straighter, it keeps everything cleaner, it doesn't warp. Hard to explain, but you can do it over plywood. You don't want to do veneer over hardwood. So all it is a really, really thin, like 30-second piece paperback, depending on your paper is how thick it is. But I mean paper thin, like literally you could just fold it in half. This is just a throwaway piece and tear it. And that's a lot of the things that you see nowadays that you could do veneer. There's nothing wrong with it. It's still solid wood technically, depending on what's underneath it. Even plywood solid wood, if you look at it in a way of outside, it's a bunch of layers of solid wood sandwiched together. So that, and then the last one is there's particle board. I do not have any particle board because I'm 100% against particle board in any way, shape, or form. So do not buy particle board if you're watching this. Particle board is pretty much MDF negative times 20. Just it's chips. It's a whole bunch of little recycled mulch. It's like putting cabinets together out of your gardening mulch. Go grab some mulch at your flower bed, compact it really tightly, and that's your MDF, or that's your particle board. So if you're down for making a cabinet out of your garden mulch, send me a picture. I'd love to see it. And yeah, you can make them look good, but they will not last at all. And that's pretty much it. This is spur of the moment, teaching you guys about wood. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you guys the next time we do a live. Be sure to subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us here on YouTube. See you later. And doingitwithjason.com. Check it out.